Steve, can we start with injuries?
It's usually the first thing you talk about. Well, it looks as if we've got one or two back. We've been away for the last 4 or 5 days anyway, and we've managed to get some training to Jelic and Hernandez and Robertson in particular. Ramirez, we can also add that to the list. So as long as they come through today, it's not ideal. Ideally, we would like another week for all of them, if I'm being honest. But it looks as if they're going to be okay.
The trip to Portugal and the mini break that you've had, is it a good time to have that?
Well, certainly the break enabled us to get one or two back. There's no question about that. And with the conditions, the way the training ground is, we thought the best thing would be to get away, and we can guarantee that we can go and train on the surfaces properly. The weather was terrific, and we managed to train for a week, which was good considering the problems that we have here.
Newcastle, John Carver's appointment has been confirmed. Does that make things maybe a little bit more difficult this weekend?
Well, let me say, for John in particular, who I've known a long, long time, he's been in the game a long, long time. He's a Newcastle lad. There'll not be anybody more prouder than him that he's got a chance of the top job of Newcastle United. So I would like to congratulate him. It'll be a wonderful achievement by him, and I'm sure he's determined enough to try and make a fist of it, that he'll get the opportunity to manage the club in the summer. So with that regard, after tomorrow, I wish him the best. I wish him the best of luck, because I'm a Newcastle lad and I always want to see them do okay, and I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Looking at the next 3 home games, on paper they all look winnable. Is the home form going to be the key to staying in the Premier League?
Well, I've said it repeatedly. It's important that you have a home record. It was paramount to us last year, and I think going into the second half of the season now, all the games are big ones, and we've seen some ridiculous results of late in the FA Cup in particular. For all of the teams at the bottom and at the top, it's about to go into the last third of the season. It's a vitally important time. So if you can win your home games, then usually that's going to stand you in good stead. So let's hope we can start by that with winning tomorrow.
Transfer deadline day on Monday. Do you expect to do business?
Well, we're trying, but like most other clubs, I'm sure that most other clubs are trying to do a bit of business. We've got 1 or 2 irons in the fire. If we can pull them off, it'd be terrific. If we can't, then we'll go on with what we've got. But it's always nice to bring 1 or 2 in if you possibly can, to give everybody a lift in the squad. And that's what we're working on, and we've been working really hard over the last couple of days, and let's hope we can get them over the line.
Is a striker a priority?
Well, you could say that with the problems we've had up front, then something to give us a bit more firepower would be ideal. Yeah.
Demba Ba, Diego Forlan, Ndoye, Jordan Rhodes, all being linked at the moment.
Well, you can take your pick. I mean, like most managers, it would be easier for us to just tell the media rather than all the speculation. But sometimes it sneaks out there, and like most managers, you can't really speak about players when they're employed with other clubs. So it'd be wrong of me to mention, but the 4 you've mentioned, that's not too bad.
Can I ask you about Nick Powell?
Well, it's not possible. It's not possible for Nick Powell because he's been out twice before. He's been on loan twice before this season, so it's not possible.
And final one from me. Obviously looking to get players in, but what about players moving out? Tomlinson's been linked with Derby.
Yeah, well, to be fair, with Incy, the phone hasn't stopped with Incy because the kid wants to play. I've said to his father at the start of the season that we do everything we can to get him playing, and when he's not playing with us, then he wants to go and play. He's in a young age. The one thing that we need is to have bodies here, and with the problems that we have got, then if there's a chance for anybody to go out, then we'll look at that. But at the moment, with the bodies in terms of injuries and that, I don't think there's going to be anybody in the next few days, but certainly before deadline day.
Steve, do you have a figure, a target in your own mind of what it's going to take to keep you up?
Well, I've said always that always 10 wins is usually enough. Sometimes it might be 9 because you always get your 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 draws that you need. So that's always been a target of mine when we're in the league, that if you can win 10 of them, then that usually guarantees that you stay up. But it's so tight at the bottom, it might not be enough. I'm still convinced that it would be, but it's so tight at the bottom that it's all to play for.
You mentioned you had irons in the fire regarding the transfers. Will you be able to draw one of those irons out before the game against Newcastle, do you think?
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so, if I'm being honest. I mean, you know, we are working on particularly on a loan deal in the UK, but I wouldn't think it's going to get done before 12 o'clock. I would like to see it would be, but I really can't see it.
That's a loan deal between you and another English club, is it? Is it Premier League club?
A Premier League club,
yeah. Okay. Other than that then, now we're looking at burning the midnight oil, or 11 o'clock oil down?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as that, that's for sure. We're working on, as I said, 1 or 2 things. That's all we've got really in the pipeline. You know, it's easy bringing in. I could go and bring 4 or 5 in, really. That's not the issue. They've got to come in and make a difference to us and improve us. And that always is a problem at this time of year, because big clubs don't really want to lose their players. People at the bottom end of the division don't really want to lose their players. So it's going to be very, very difficult to add that certain quality that we're obviously looking for.
And just to pick up on the injuries, could Andrew Robertson actually make an appearance in this game against Newcastle then?
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he's got a chance, yeah. He could do, yeah.
And Ramirez, you know, his is a sort of...
Ramirez is okay. He's trained okay, and, you know, he went... he got a knock and he's okay. So he's been fine, and he's trained the last week or so. So he's okay too.
And how helpful was Portugal in getting some of these 50-50 players fit, you know?
Well, the one thing that we needed was, I mean, it's ludicrous. We spent a fortune on undersoil heating, new pitches and all the rest of it. And I have to say the gas board we've got no fuel to it, and the gas board in particular has left a lot to be desired. So we spend fortunes for this sort of situation. And if we hadn't have gone away, we had nowhere to train. It's as simple as that, you know, with the snow and the frost. For example, the training ground this morning, it's unplayable. So we've got to come and use the stadium, which for a Premier League club in our status is ridiculous. You know, but we've done everything we can in the summer to eradicate that with the training ground. And, you know, we spend, as I said, a lot of money on it and got no gas supply to it, which seems ludicrous.
So is that just an issue with
an issue with
breakdown on the boiler?
Well, I've got a lot of jobs, but looking at boilers and underfloor heating and all the rest of it.
But is that what's been reported back to you?
Yeah, it's been reported back to me that unfortunately, we've got no gas supply, no fault of our own, but, you know, we've had no supply to it, and apparently it's getting done next week, which, sod's law, it'll be glorious sunshine and no problem where to train.
Don't worry, I think the weather's getting worse, not better.
Okay, I'll keep you that.
Steve, one point of clarification. You're looking for a UK-based loan. Is it a striker, can you say?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Is it a midfielder?
You keep getting there, yeah.
Steve, in general, what's your view of the January transfer window?
In general? Well, I mean, it's always a difficult time, because, you know, always clubs are trying to improve their squad, and if you look at a lot of the teams, they have done, and as such, just yet we haven't. But we're doing everything we possibly can, and I've said repeatedly, you know, I'm very, very happy with the squad I've got. We've been dealt a raw blow with the injuries we've had, and I don't want to keep bleating on about it, but nobody in the bottom half of the division or the top half has had the problems that we've had. If we had had everybody fit and everybody available and everybody's good, then I would have been quite happy not to be in the transfer market. But we've had a few problems, as everybody knows. So if we can add a couple of new faces to the team and the squad, then that would be good.